The feature match, here we go. Charles Azuelos versus Luis Fata. Both these players still in top 8 contention. Two players whose names we don't know very well here on the SCG Tour, but we might after this weekend is all said and done. As here's a Phyrexian Revoker in combination with Mother of Runes. Now, for you Ren and 6 fans out there, it's looking like a pretty juicy battlefield. There's a Birchlore Ranger. Here's a Heritage Druid. We need one more elf right now here for Charles, but he does not have one to go absolutely crazy. So Revoker's going to give some beatdowns. Your follow-up is Stoneforge Mystic.
Well, here is the path for Death and Taxes to be able to do something in this matchup. Umezawa's Jitte starts connecting. Elves really can't come back from it. You can get this going, you have a shot. But it's possible here that Fata might not even get another turn from this kind of base. Azuelos will have a lot of mana to work with. Looks like has a copy of Glimpse in hand as well to maybe have a huge turn.
Well, when you see someone doing this level of math before even playing a spell, if you're Luis, you are just you are not feeling good about things at all. So there's a Quirion Ranger.
Just getting shop set up here.
Mm-hmm.
Still a mana in the pool.
Elvish Visionary.
You typically want to try to do as much of this operation as up front as you can before playing your land, because if you can find a Gaia's Cradle in your sequencing, then it starts becoming very easy.
That's just natural order right now.
Oh, this is just lethal, right?
Pretty darn
15,
close.
20. Yeah, this is just, all right, whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
That's just lethal. Never mind.
Super cool. Super cool. Elves up a game very quickly over Death and Taxes. Just the coolest.
Very easy. Easy stuff.
I actually like Elves a lot.
Just as a deck or in the metagame right now?
Just as a deck. Yeah. I've always liked Elves in Legacy as a deck.
It feels like it's a very Legacy experience. It is a deck that really incorporates the whole catalog of Magic history. Like, it goes from a Land of War Elves in Alpha some amount of the time, all the way to more recent Elves, things that have been printed in Commander products and so forth.
It also just feels like a Magic deck, like flavor-wise. It's a bunch of Elves.
Right.
They all work together, and then they summon some gigantic green creature through some Elvish magic. In this instance, natural order. You know, it feels like the flavor of the game is being taken into account.
No question.
Cradle obviously is some crazy land that the Elves use to generate a ton of mana. Like, I just like everything that's going on with it, even if it is objectively powerful. I think it's on flavor. Also, it's a combo deck where you have to interact with creatures. Like, if you can't beat creatures, your deck sucks. At least that's what I think.
Well, it's nice to have a deck where it's, you know, yeah, Lightning Bolt does something, Thoughtseize does something. Creatures, sometimes a thing that's good against Elves is a creature with flying.
Yeah,
like
that's fine.
Your keywords matter.
Totally fine. Yep. No, I like that too. I like it. I like it as a deck quite a bit. So these players are going to lay out their hands here for game number 2. Luis Fata will be on the play with Death and Taxes. Again, if these games go long, it's good news for your Death and Taxes player. It's the short ones that are bad news.
Yeah, the long game gives you the hope of setting up something like Umezawa's Jitte on a creature you can give pro green to, or some sort of evasive threat.
Either Swan Canonist can slow things down in a big way. You saw Birchlore Rangers get hit with the Swords to Plowshares. There's a Quirion, a Ranger, a Dryad Arbor as the land, and now the Canonist going to give some beatdowns. Wasteland will take care of the Dryad Arbor. Swords to Plowshares will take care of the Quirion Ranger, and now there's an Aether Vial, able to play an additional spell because the Vial is an artifact. That's a Land of War Elves, and there's another Dryad Arbor. I suppose it's the same Dryad Arbor because of the Corian Ranger, but I digress. There's Needle. Have to imagine that's naming Wirewood Symbiote.
It's about as much as you can ask for here from Fata, especially if you can put a Stoneforge Mystic all together here. A lot of disruption. Man's getting pinned.
Third Wasteland. For Charles, you can't really do much about that, right?
Well, maybe you can now. You're at this point now with 2 elves on the battlefield and some mana to work with. You might be starting to break out of this. Reclamation Stage on the Needle, now even more mana to work with, and a big play there from Fata, not having a Stoneforge Mystic to put through the Vial.
It's a really good point, actually. Fata has not really have much lands to work with, though I will say, as here is Wirewood. Verdant Catacombs pass the turn back. Oh boy. Oh boy, okay. Well, the clock is ticking on this game. There's Stoneforge.
Here we go.
Because Mirran Crusader has protection from green and double strike.
You put a Jitte on that thing and it is all over.
We're done, yeah.
But it looks like Charles is going to have one big shot at it right here.
Should be able to kill the Canonist and do other things, ideally.
Right.
Yeah. Is what I believe you're suggesting. So here's 4 green mana. Down to 1. Bang. All right, here we go. 3 elves, up to 4. Return this. Replay it. Kill your... Wow, nothing to vial in. Okay.
And that's a turn off of being able to do anything with the Jitte as well.
So what Charles is missing right now is the key card Charles is missing is Natural Order. Mirran Crusader is going to keep attacking, of course. Charles is going to fall down at 6.
Looks like Lewis is maybe choosing between, if I port the Cradle, then that might be able to keep him off some mana. If I say go, then I can Stoneforge in the Vial. And I think at this point, Charles has so much mana to work with, you can't really cut him off there. If you're able to get Stoneforge, the Jitte onto the Mirran Crusader the next turn, now it's suddenly just lethal, because you get the double strike and then you get to pump beforehand. I think you got to try to go for a kill this turn.
Well, Jitte is on the battlefield. Put it on there. Give some beatdowns. Ooh, Abrupt Decay is timely. Falling down to 2.
All right, well, one more draw step.
Yep, gonna go down to 1.
All the mana in the world to work with. Can you find a payoff?
Natural Order, Crater, Behemoth, something. Elvish Visionary is not a bad place to start. Draw a card. 5 mana from your Cradle. Bring back the Visionary, I'm sure. Yep. Down to 4 from the Visionary. All right, let's do it again. Yep. Mechanics are all solid. Didn't find it. Okay.
Game 3.
Game 3 indeed. Between Elves and Death and Taxes. This one you think would be a walk here for Elves, but sometimes it is much closer than it appears. Well, especially after sideboard.
They have some cards. They have some cards that are problematic. At a baseline, they're not really set up to equip your game plan all that well. The cards that you would point to as being their anti-combo measures, by and large, don't really work here. Canonist is good, but Thalia and cards like that don't do a lot in the matchup. But Source of Plowshares, some flyers, some pro-green creatures, some equipment, that stuff is, you can put that together and have a good game against them.
Remember, after this round, Brian Gottlieb, Craig Krempels, they're coming back in for round number 15. After that round's over, we'll make a cut to our top 8. You at home will get to vote for the quarterfinals. Don't forget about that if you're a member of the For Each Match area here on twitch.tv/SCG Tour. And it's September, which means it's even cheaper. Normally $5. half off, $250 to become a member of the feature match area, get access to custom emoticons and badges, and get to vote on our quarterfinals. Then Brian and Craig will take you through our quarterfinals, do our top 8 breakdown. Then we'll be back in the booth for our semis and finals. Crown of Champion Nick Miller will take care of our winners interview as usual. Looks like Lewis not happy with what he sees. He'll send it back. See if he can find a little something better to work with.
Five cards.
It's not very many. Well, 2 are on the bottom. Good enough. Let's start with the Zenith or an Arbor. All right. That's a Plains. Looks like no turn 1 play. Perhaps Swords of Plowshares at the ready, but no Vial, no Mother, no nothing here for Lewis. There's a Zenith again. This time for Quirion Ranger. Pick up a Forest, untap the Dryad Arbor. Play a Nettle Sentinel, play a Forest, play a Elvish Mystic, pass the turn back. Well,
ton of mana to work, ton of setup already.
Yep. You better find something to do, my friend. Passing ain't great. It's not difficult, pardon me, for Charles to go crazy this turn. Some sort of glimpse hand, natural order is probably good enough for the W. Stuff like that. 2 green floating. Use the Ranger, untap the Dryad Arbor, pick up the Forest. Replay the Forest. Natural order. Containment Priest is going to brick wall that. So, I like that. Search for a green card that you don't want to draw.
Yep.
So, get a Dryad Arbor, get that out of here. And kick it back. There's Canist. Okay.
Good setup here. A lot of Charles's best cards have been shut off. You got a broad-speaking anti-combo measure, and now the last piece of the puzzle, Stoneforge Mystic.
Yeah. This is getting a little more difficult here for Charles than I think he expected, given his opponent's mulligan to 5. But, you know, that is the old London mulligan at work here, folks. It does let you compete in difficult situations. And Wazawa's Jite has been found here by Lewis. There's a Wooded Foothills. That'll give him access to a black source of mana that he didn't have before. There's the Bayou.
So Abrupt Decay for the Containment Priest is step number 1 here. Still challenging for Carlos to really combo out through the Canonist, but he at least can get something large on the battlefield here.
Oh, there's Jite. Pro green. Return Reclamation Sage, and there's the Decay. Okay. So this is a part of the appeal of Elves, obviously, is its ability to do some weird interactions, get the job done. That's natural. That should be it now.
Yeah, that's it.
That should be it, right? Unless Swords of Plowshares are somehow involved in this.
I mean,